Well, the news here, and the Prime Minister is in Scotland today after losing a series of crucial votes in the Commons. Boris Johnson is expected to announce millions of pounds for the Scottish farming industry as he continues to press for a general election. Labour are still warning they'll block an election to ensure the government can't leave the EU without a deal on October the 31st. This morning, Jeremy Corbyn is hosting a conference call of opposition party leaders to discuss their approach to the timing of any vote. Well, first, let's talk to our correspondent in Aberdeenshire, David Shanks, who's following the Prime Minister's activities this morning. Tell us, David, what has he been doing and what sort of reception has he had?
Well, Anita, we're in Peterhead, at Peterhead Harbour this morning, where the Prime Minister left a short time ago. He went to Peterhead Fish Market, which is this is one of the largest whitefish ports in Europe, a very busy place for the fishing industry, which has been so crucial to the Brexit talks. The Prime Minister had a brief walk around the market, and then he was taken out for a quick burl around the harbour on a trawler. I understand he later went on to even buy a box of cod. But he will be keeping his chequebook out for later on, because there is a big announcement coming, we understand, on funding for farmers, some just over £50 million. The Prime Minister wrote an article this morning where he said the farming sector had received a poor deal from the European Union through the Common Agricultural Policy, and he was seeking to rectify that. Now, this cash comes from the recommendations of the Bew Review, which seeks to redistribute fairly funding for farmers once the UK leaves the European Union. Now, this also follows £160 million in historic payments promised to Scottish farmers in the Chancellor's spending review earlier on this week. Now, the National Farmers Union of Scotland have said that this is the largest uplift for the sector that's been seen in memory. The SNP's Westminster leader, Ian Blackford, says that these payments are 3 years too late. But following on from his speech yesterday in Yorkshire and a number of appointments, today you could be forgiven for thinking that the Prime Minister is on an election footing here in Scotland. But recent polls have shown that if an election were to be called, he would have his work cut out north of the border to hold on to the seats gained in the last election. Now, Boris Johnson gave himself the title of Minister for the Union, pledging to bring the country back together. But that's a task made all the more difficult here in Scotland since the resignation of Ruth Davidson, the leader of the Scottish Conservatives, last week, who's credited with much of the success and revival of the party in recent years in Scotland.
OK, David, thank you very much. David Shanks there in